You are tuned in to G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button as you come on in. Terence Crawford, a fighter that should be in your pound for pound top 3, is probably one of the most talked about boxers in the sport. Why? Because everybody wants to see Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. That's the fight that everybody wants to see. Now, I'm glad that I talked to so many people when it comes down to the sport of boxing. Be people within my channel, whether I'm jumping on other people's channels, jumping in a comment section, or jumping in other people's channels and jumping in their lives, boxing groups, just boxing chats, things of that nature. It made me realize that Terence Crawford has a much bigger problem than just getting an Errol Spence fight. Terence Crawford has a big problem with just getting a meaningful fight, period. Bottom line is, Terence Crawford needs to team up with Uncle Al. He needs to team up with Al Haymon. Now, before I get started, let me let you guys know I am not pro Al Haymon. I'm not pro PBC. I'm not pro Bob Arum. I'm not pro Top Rank. I'm not pro Errol Spence. I'm not pro Terence Crawford. I just want to see the best fights getting made, period. But I do understand the business aspect, and I understand the promotional landscape. Terence Crawford needs to team up with Al Haymon. He doesn't have any other legit options. Now, Terence Crawford's contract with Top Rank is supposed to end October 2021 of this year. Now, let's just run through a scenario of Terence Crawford re-signs with Bob Arum and Top Rank. He literally has no options with Top Rank at 147. Any opponent that he gets, he would have to negotiate with another promotional company. All of the big names at 147 is with PBC. The biggest name he could possibly get at 147 and not deal with PBC is probably Virgil Ortiz. And even his name is not a huge name. He's a name to the hardcores, but he's still on the come up. He's still on the come up. Like, that's the biggest name he can find without dealing with Al Haymon. Now, for the people that feel like, oh, well, you know, Terence Crawford could just move down in weight. He can go down to 140 and fight Jose Ramirez. He could fight Josh Taylor. He could fight Teofimo Lopez if Teofimo decides to go up to 140. Let me tell you guys something. That's not happening. That is not happening. Terence Crawford has been at 147 for quite a while. And when you get up there in age, you go up in weight. You don't go down in weight. The older you get, it's more difficult to get down to certain weights. So that fantasy of Terence Crawford going back down to 140, that's exactly what it is. It's a goddamn fantasy. So that's not happening. So the people that feel like, oh, well, you know, he can go up to 154 and go get a belt at 154. The only option he would have is Brian Castano versus Patrick Teixeira. The winner of that fight, Terence Crawford could fight him for a belt at 154. And that's not a welterweight option. That's a 154 option. In best case scenario, even if he was the winner of that fight, and win a title at 154, he would still be at the same dead end that I'm about to tell you right now. Al Haymon has it locked at 147. Al Haymon has it locked at 154. Like, that's just a fact. Like, he has it locked at 147. He has it locked at 154. So if Terence Crawford wants to get meaningful fights at 147 and at 154, then he need to go team up with Uncle Al. He need to go team up with Al Haymon. That's just the reality of it. You may not like it, but that's the reality of it. Now, for the people that's like, oh, well, I think the Errol Spence fight can still happen. When you talk in boxing, you can look at things really 4 ways. You can look at it from just the sport aspect, just competition. That's number 1. Number 2, you can look at it from a promotional standpoint. Number 3, you can look at it from a network standpoint. And then you can look at it from just a straight money standpoint. Now, when you look at the politics behind Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford, how it can be made. Number 1, Bob Arum has come out and said the last couple fights, he's lost a ton of money promoting Terence Crawford. That's not good. That's not good for negotiating purposes. Second thing is, we all know Terence Crawford contract is supposed to end October 2021. So why would Bob Arum front the bill or even split the bill with Al Haymon and PBC to make a mega fight with Errol Spence, and he doesn't have Terence Crawford locked into a long-term contract? That don't make any business sense. Now, from Errol Spence end, he has a chokehold in terms of like leverage. Manny Pacquiao just got stripped of the title, and Yordenis Ugas was elevated to super champion. So now you're looking at Errol Spence and you're looking at Yordenis Ugas in a unification fight. If Errol Spence wins that fight, he has 3 of the 4 belts. That's hella leverage. They were talking 60, 40, 70, 30 prior to that happening. If he was to win a 3rd belt, they might offer Terence Crawford a flat rate and not even a percentage. They might just offer him a flat rate, and that's just real talk. And then from Al Haymon's end, why negotiate with Bob Arum in Top Rank when Terence Crawford about to become a free agent? You could just skip negotiating with Bob Arum and just negotiate with Terence Crawford. You might be able to sign him to a long-term deal. So you factor all of those things in, and then if Terence Crawford decides to sign with PBC, then now we're talking better percentages, better splits, more options, things like that. So there's plenty of reasons why Errol Spence and Terence Crawford is not happening, but Terence Crawford needs to sign with Al Haymon or just do business with Al Haymon to get meaningful fights going forward. And this is no disrespect to Bob Arum. It's no disrespect to Top Rank or anything like that. Bottom line is, you got to go where the work is. You got to go where the work is. You know what I'm saying? Like with Top Rank, the block's slow. You know what I'm saying? Like the block is slow. Like ain't no work out there. You know what I'm saying? You got to go where the work at. And those are the reasons why I feel Terence Crawford need to team up with Al Haymon. And for the people that's listening to this video and you are anti-PBC or you're anti-Al Haymon, you should agree with this simply because you should be pro let's get the best fights done. And in order for Terence Crawford to get big fights at 147 or 154, period, it only had to be Errol Spence. I mean, you got Danny Garcia, you got Keith Thurman, you got Sean Porter, you got Yordenis Ugas, you got Boots Ennis. Like, those are some guys that he could fight. At 154, he got all the guys in 154. Got Jamel Charlo, got J-Rock, Jared Swift Hurd, Tony Harris. Like, everybody's with PBC. Like, so he should just go where the work at. You know, Al Haymon got all the work. Go deal with Al Haymon. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. I appreciate y'all. Peace.